That's not an easy thing to do, especially a guy like D. Lee, how good he is makeup-wise, how long he's been in the organization. Talk about how you kind of weigh how difficult that is versus what's right for you going forward, too.
Yeah, well, you hate to be in this spot, Jimmy, and it's just a situation. It's hard to do. You just have to get the mindset of, we had a big payroll. We have a new owner that's been terrific. And we stretched it as far as we could in the winter when we had Bird and Nady, and so, as a general manager, I think the obligation is if you're in the race, you certainly expect your owner to contribute again in July and August, and if you're not, then you have to get the payroll back in line. And this is a situation where my relationship with Derrek is real good. Derrek knows that the probability of him coming back at his point in career moving forward was probably not going to happen, and we'd had those chats in an honest way. And it's a situation where he gets to go to a great organization that's in first place and play for Bobby Cox here at the end. And I think it's a good thing for him. And I did factor that in also. Will we win as many games the rest of the year without him? But no. But I'm from the school of if we're not getting in, whether it's 70 wins, 72, 79, that part doesn't really matter. It's just time to kind of get our thoughts set on the off season and getting back into contention next year.
Hey, Jim, with Lee going to Atlanta, I mean, he had a great second half last year, 18 homers, 54 RBIs. And, he's battling a little bit of a health issue. It sounds like everything's fine. Obviously, Atlanta cleared that. What is Atlanta getting?
Atlanta's getting a tremendous human being that loves to play in the lights. He certainly was part of the World Series championship team with the Marlins that beat us in 2003 and then went on to beat the Yankees. He's played well here the years we got in the postseason. He had a huge hand in that. You're getting a 10 human being, a high character guy that totally about winning. Never has looked at his numbers compared to winning the ball games or getting in the postseason. And I think he'll fit in great over there. And it'll be a heck of a race down the stretch there in the East. You can't help but root for Derrek Lee. I hope he doesn't do too well this weekend. That's another bizarre point of it. Hope that back needs a few more days. but he's a special guy, really a wonderful guy, and the kind of guy that you'll have a relationship with way past his playing days or my working days here.
You're not getting much rest these days, man. You've been active on the trade market.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of stuff. I mean, we thought at the trade deadline that it would slow down a little bit, but then when you lose a guy like Chipper Jones, and you're in the position we're in, you feel like you've got to go out and try to restore some of that offense that we're losing. So our guys are real excited about Derrek joining us.
Hey, Frank, talk about the front office, I guess, debate if there was one, because Chipper plays third, obviously, and were you looking more third base, first base, or just kind of best available at either spot?
Well, I tell you, really, it was not about the position the player played. I think after 4 days of watching our club after Chipper got hurt, what was real apparent to us is we had a big hole in that 3-4 area of our lineup where we really didn't have anyone in our club that profiled as a 3 or 4 hitter. And so it was more about finding someone that could fit that order and then figuring out what position. Because I think the strength of our team is the flexibility. We got a lot of guys that can play a lot of different places. So if we could find that anchor in the middle of the lineup, then we could build off of it. And when we went through the waivers and looked at non-contending clubs and players that could be available, players that didn't have long-standing contracts going forward, there was one guy, and that was Derrek Lee, and he fit the bill perfectly for us. And so we reached out to the Cubs and Jim Hendry on Sunday morning and started the process. And obviously knowing that he had turned down a trade earlier in the summer, so we didn't know if it was going to work out or not. But it was really more about getting an anchor in the middle of our lineup.
It's amazing, too, and I look at his numbers just from last year, second half, 18 homers, 54 RBIs, had a great second half, OPS over 1,000. And it seems like really right now, I know you had Jim Fregosi, other guys evaluate him. It seems like he's really been swinging the bat well. Really, if you go back to even maybe late June, he's been swinging the bat much better.
Yeah, since the All-Star break, he's been real good. He's hitting .313 with 6 home runs and 20 RBIs, I think, in 24 games. So, he's doing what he does, and that's that was important to us, that we get an offensive piece that's ready to go.
To be able to, I guess, maintain his health, because he's a guy that's been a little bit banged up, is there a thought of spelling him with Hinsky at first base a little bit as well? And did you guys have to, how much conversation was there about Derrek Lee, I guess, with the Chicago Cubs having to talk to him about waiving his no-trade clause?
It was a short conversation I had with Jim Hendry on Sunday morning to talk about the possibilities. If Jim thought that he would be open to discussing it again after he had turned it down earlier. And once we talked about the general parameters of the deal on Sunday morning, what they would be looking for, I said, yeah, we would have that level of interest, so why don't you go ahead and talk to Derrek? So he said he would talk to Derrek after the game when they were flying back to Chicago Sunday night. So that's kind of how it all fell into place. And then, Derrek goes out and hits 2 home runs in his first 2 at-bats that afternoon. So I'm thinking, oh, geez, there goes the price.
Right.